All right, guys, this is my quantitative literacy module 2. As you can see, we got medication half-lives right here, and the half-life of ibuprofen. So going to dosage-wise, you can see 1.9 hours into the dosage, or after you've taken ibuprofen, 1.9 hours, you only have 400 of the dosage in your system, while 3.8 hours, you have 200 of the dosage. 5.7, 100 of dosage, and it starts going down and down and down. It's halving each time every 0.9 or 1.9 hours, and you can see it slowly decreasing over and over again. Let's go down here to GE, crops growth in the U.S. Now, as you can see here, this is the percent of the crops growth in the U.S. and how much they are going up and how fast we're able to produce crops nowadays, how more efficient we have become at it, and we're getting higher, but we're starting to get to the trend line, or we're starting to get to the top of where we're kind of balancing ourselves out. So instead of growing, we're kind of now equaling the same. We're kind of getting around the same amount of crops that we've been growing, from adding extra anything from just extra products into the a little bit. And we took this graph, or I took this graph, and made an exact replica using the data from this graph, and put it into Excel and calculating everything the way it's supposed to be. And I ended up doing that same thing for all these graphs, from taking this information that they had and putting it inside and graphing it. And I go all the way down. These are the questions for the sheet. Question number 1, discuss whether the sources are reliable. I think the sources are actually pretty reliable. They seem to have gathered their network from a bunch of different sites and people. So I went onto the websites that I got these graphs from, and I was seeing a bunch of resources actually where they pulled them off from different sites where they got their exact information, and they actually seem pretty credible from where they got them. A couple of them were from some government official websites of farming and plant growth. Discuss the difference between correlation and causation. Correlation between variables, however, don't automatically mean that the change in one variable is caused the change in the other. So saying that something caused or did this and that's the reason it done it is not exactly true. Like, it's not the same. The causation isn't it? It's no proof that there is, while the causation indicates the result. So it actually shows the truth, and it actually shows how it did it and what changed in it. Should we discuss reported correlation between USD and crop growth? Well, so the different change in the crop growth up here is, that was what I discussed just a little bit ago, is how America is finding more efficient ways to grow crops and getting more percentage crops going up, and finding faster ways and making bigger, getting more quantity over it. Number 4, differences between the first 2 reports and the FDA reports. So the first 2 reports, I mean, they could be pulled from anywhere, and they're not completely credible. But then the FDA reports, those are almost 100% credible, due to the fact that they're government sites requiring them to get their brutal, honest facts. They need the exact numbers. They need how they got them. They have to show, and they have to give explanations on how everything's going on. So the access to our food and health. I put that you can actually show and look ingredients. Now that everything nowadays has ingredients on the side, it shows how you got certain food, how you got certain health, or what ingredients are in the food and how the food was made. So America is becoming a little bit or a lot more informative on their plant growth in the U.S. Now we're going to the impaired driving tab. Okay, impaired driving. This is showing all the information for people who've been in accidents, whether they've been on city roads, rural roads, small towns. It shows all the information just from crashes, bicycle driver, motorcycle passenger, pedestrian. Reaction time in seconds, adults, subject, blood, and alcohol. So showing your reaction time when you have how much alcohol is in your system. And this is a Venn diagram showing of all the crashes that's got drugs or alcohol usage. So saying that 17.8% of the crashes that have alcohol in their system. Negative for all substances, 17.8%. Weed, yeah, 7.3. And you can see the alcohol is 9.7, and then the cannabis is some 3.7. You can see that 1.6 has alcohol and weed both in their system at that time when they were in the crash. And going down to our report, shows that there were more accidents in 2019 than there were in 2018. So it actually shows that we're not improving and learning. And yeah, so we're not learning from our mistakes. There's a lot more accidents that's been going on, a lot more percentage-wise of accidents. Instead of less accidents from car safety to person awareness, we've gone up and we're having more accidents. I don't know if that's rather just negligence or just not caring. Discuss the differences between, no. Okay. Discuss the distribution, reaction time of adults. All right, and I think a self-driving car is definitely a thing of the future, probably not in our lifetime. Self-driving cars probably won't be something in our lifetime that we're going to have as a necessity. It's definitely a thing now, but it's probably not going to be something that's going to be required anytime during our lifespan. Maybe in the next generations that might be past us, but as of right now, I don't think it'll be for a while until we have self-driving cars as a requirement. Moving on to the texting driving. This is showing all these stats between crashes that people were texting and driving, and how crashes between younger ages and mid to old. A lot less older people would be texting and driving, having accidents. A lot more, or I think that's more the fact that a lot of older people nowadays don't really find the necessities of spending all day on their phone, as us younger generation being, well, some of the more higher percentage, due to the fact that we live on our phones, and that's kind of what we grew up around. And then going on to distribution of wealth in the United States. So as you can see, this is a chart of the distribution of wealth. This is just crazy of how 1% of the wealth group here in the United States has 35.4% of all the money in the U.S. It's crazy to think that these guys, these elites, have 35% of all the United States money, when down here at the bottom, 40% of the people have 0.9% of the United States money. To think that the top 1%, even the 4%, 27.7%, it's crazy to think that they have that much of the United States wealth and how much they have. And explain that outcomes. Down here, you show the average medium income. I put it down here. It also has the where most of our budget goes. Most of the budget goes towards defense, Social Security, and major health problems. And a lot of it goes to education. Big part of it goes to education, actually. 2% state tax revenues, 32% of state tax revenues going towards education. A lot of that goes in trying to make our next generation smarter, or our current generation smarter, trying to inform more people and show us who we're doing and how to better ourselves and become better people. If we didn't have a tax system, that'd be kind of chaos. Yeah, I say down here that if we didn't have a tax system, our government would doom to failure because of a little income be getting us for jobs in state, and state would have to stop working because they would be getting little to no pay. We'll be going into a deep depression. Stock markets would crash, and America would fall to the bottom of the food chain. We probably end up going back to trading goods and different objects and services, rather than if taxes were to fall, then I think money or paper money would also end up falling as well, and going back to like caveman times. Taxes is something that's very important, although it does seem it's kind of high. It's something that's very important for the United States. And we're moving on to the next, which is paying taxes. So in this one, it shows how taxes. This one shows when you get maybe like a raise at your job. So your old pay was $50,000, and you get a $2,000 raise. Well, at the $15,000 at the end of the year, after taxes are paid, $10,000 in taxes, you get $39,190 for your income, your gross. Now, after you get the new pay, the extra $2,000 that year, you get $52,000. You go up a tax bracket. Actually, you went up into a new area of people that made more money than others. Even though it's just $2,000, not big in the whole scheme of things, but you think, oh wow, $2 extra $2,000, that would be great. Well, in the end, since you went up that extra tax bracket, you're now paying $20,000 in taxes, leaving you, instead of the $39,000 that you got carried home last time, you get carried home now $31,000, a lot less than what it was. And it shows that getting a raise is sometimes not worth it. Actually, getting that raise, unless either you're at the bottom, you're at the top of your tax bracket and you haven't carried over, or if you at the bottom or middle and top of a tax bracket is kind of where you want to be sitting. Bottom is you're going to tax you really hard, versus how much you're paying. You're going to pay more, or just as much as someone who's paying or getting maybe $2,000 or $3,000 more than you. So you definitely want to watch your tax brackets. And this one's showing right here as well. By the way, this was the head of the household. This one's for single people, $50,000. You're gonna get $31,000 coming in. But if you get a $2,000 raise, you're not gonna change that much. You're not gonna go up a tax bracket. You're gonna stay the same, and you're gonna take home an extra $1,000. You're still gonna get taxed just a little bit more, but you're actually gonna get a little bit more money out of the income, your income increase. Married and filing jointly, you got the $50,000. You ended up coming out with $38,000 new pay after the $2,000 raise. You coming out with $40,000. So definitely worth it for the this one, and not overstepping into a new tax bracket. Step bracket, what are the major differences? All right, guys, this is my Excel report 2. Making sure covering everything. Yep, this is my Excel report 2. And I'll see you during the next report, guys. Peace out.